This video is to describe and demonstrate the two high-resolution preamp DACs I've made. Both DACs are based on the twisted pair Buffalo DACs. One has a Buffalo 3 and one has a Buffalo 3 SE. One has a IV3 output stage and one has a valve output stage. They both have Arduino Megas running the software. They both have a touch screen. They both have an Apple remote which has been programmed, well, the system has been programmed to accept the remote codes from the Apple remote, which you can see there. They both have a pointer, which is what I use to adjust the touch screen. The touch screen works best with a pointer. I don't use the touch screen very often, as I don't really need to, because 90% of the things I do 90% of the time, I just use the remote. They both have Toslink input. They both have coaxial inputs, and they both have the high resolution USB input, the Amanero. They both have a USB input for access to the Mega for programming. They both have AC filtered, fused and switched inputs. In the background I have two squeeze boxes set up ready to play some music. They're connected to two coaxial inputs. I have a little King Rex amp and a couple of drivers just sitting on the bench for this demonstration purposes. Now, to turn the system on, you can press the button you see on the left hand side, or you can use the remote. I'll use my second remote to turn the system on. You see the system turns on. It's a little welcome screen, which thanks a lot of people who helped me through this process. Now what we'll do is we'll zoom in, and on the top right hand side of the screen you will see Amanero is selected, so that's the source. The source can be selected via the screen or the remote. The mute function under that can be selected via the screen or the remote. I'll demonstrate the mute. Now under, obviously you see the volume going up and down. Under the volume is oversampling, and that's on, which is the way it needs to stay in my setup. Beside the volume are the arrows. Now they're the actual touch area that you touch to adjust the volume via the screen. Underneath those arrows is a little green light. That is the balance function. So you can move the balance to the right or to the left as your heart desires. And that's done inside the DAC chip. On the top left is a lizard, and the lizard's there just for fun. Below the lizard is the sample rate. At the moment it's displaying PCM 44 kilohertz, as you can see, and that will change according to whatever sample rate is being sent to the DAC. Now it says sleep off, and it's a sleep function that I've put in because I like using it at night, and I like going to sleep with a bit of classical music playing, and so a car's about to drive past. And at the moment it's set for 10 minutes, and after the 10 minutes it will turn off my whole system. There are two 12-volt trigger outputs which are connected to the rest of my system, so the whole system turns off and turns on. Now what I can do is you can touch and you can go 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, which is the maximum I've set up, but that all can be changed in the software. And then we go sleep off, so now it won't turn off. Underneath the sleep off is VL, which is the backlight, which you can adjust, which I won't do now. Beside that is ST, which is the settings screen. Now if I press the settings screen, it's now showing me the settings for the Amanero input. Now I can toggle through those and change the settings to, adjust them. And sometimes you get, it depends, you can get better lock by using some settings, and you can get less jitter by using other settings. So it's a matter of fine tuning for your system. Now what happens if you don't touch the screen for a few seconds? It goes back to the home screen. Now what we'll do now is we will play some music to give you a demonstration of the sort of music we can play. Now what I've got is the Amanero playing CD quality music. We'll turn that up and turn that down. As far as I know, this DAC chip will play all the sample rates that are commonly available. I don't know of any that it won't play. Now what I've done is I've downloaded some high resolution music for demonstration purposes. And you'll see it's playing a DSD file now. Now this is all coming from my computer via foobar, and foobar is telling me that it's playing 2.8 megahertz, and obviously that's what's being displayed on the screen there. Now I have exactly the same piece of music but at a higher sample rate, which I'll demonstrate now. You can see that's changed to 5.6 megahertz, which is what foobar is telling me that it's putting out. Now I also have some DXD files which we will play. Now what happens is the settings in foobar adjust how the DXD files are played, or what sample rate they're played at. They're played as PCM files, and in this case in foobar I've chosen 352 kilohertz, and it is now playing at 352 kilohertz. Bit of classical piano there. Now what we'll do now is I'll pause that, and I'll get the squeeze boxes playing some music. As I say, I've got two set up in the background there. Now if I press the source selection on the remote, you'll see it's gone to the first coaxial input, and there's no lock. Now there's no lock because there's nothing connected to it. If I press again, you see we get a lock. This is CD quality. A bit of Eva Cassidy playing. Now if I press the source selection again, it jumps over to the other squeeze box, and that is playing a bit of Bach at the highest sample rate. Now I know I'm biased because I made these, but the quality of sound from these in my system I think is fantastic. Before I built these DACs, I was, I didn't know if I'd get better quality sound than I'd been getting, but I was definitely get better quality sound, and I get, and the sound stage that I get in my system is fantastic. It's big, it's wide, it's just great. I've got some classical music where there were bells played, and when I first started playing it, I thought the bells were coming from somewhere else, not from my system. And sometimes late at night, I'll get spooked by, when I'm half asleep, I'll get spooked by noises, but the noises from the music, and it all comes down to the sound stage. You'll see that the green light on the right hand side is on and the red light's off, so that's telling me I've got a solid lock. The green light and the music's coming through is the red light being off. Now what I'll do, if I pause that music, which I'll do now, see the red light comes on, so it's still telling me I've got a solid lock, but I don't have any music coming through. I've had great fun building these, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. Thank you.